Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I am Nivedita, Management Lead of DG, D, um, DCSC, DSC IGDTUW, and I will be conducting today's session on resume building by Edudictive in collaboration with us. Extend extending a warm welcome to our respected speaker Aahan Malhotra and all the people present here. Edutective is an edutech platform assisting existing as well as upcoming youth to explore their interest and get expertise through live training and mentorship session in different disciplines. So without wasting our much of the time, here I end and hand over the stage to our respected speaker Aahan Malhotra.
Thank you so much, Sangeeta, and the Developer Student Club of IGDTUW for having me over here. And thank you everyone for joining in. I hope at the end of this interactive session, you guys would be more knowledgeable about the resume building and other aspects of interview preparation. So, like, I'll start with the common question. I hope like many of you have heard about this question earlier as well. So uh, it is always good to understand your audience before catering them. This is my principle, what I follow from last 2 years, where I have mentored more than 4,000 students. So similarly, my first question to all of you is like, kindly give me a brief background about yourself in the chat section, telling me about your year of study and the branch you are into, so that basically and also tell me like whether my voice is audible to you or not. Is there any disturbance or everything is clear?
Everything is clear. You can carry on.
EC first year BTech Anjali, great. First year CSA, yeah, great. EC first year, IT branch, EC first year, first year. So yeah, as developer student club, so I'll assume that most of you are from tech background itself, but majorly I want to understand the year. So all of you are from first year or some are from second year. So let's get started. So we'll try to keep it as interactive as possible. I don't want to just share the presentation and you will be noting down some points and then maybe forgetting after a certain period of time. So we'll learn all together during the next 1 hour and we'll try to implement just after the session in next 2 to 3 days, and we'll try to apply for any internship or job, because I'll also share some of the hacks which you can use to apply for the internships even in your like after your first year itself, and all those internships would be paid only. So don't think like I'm going to tell you about the unpaid internships. So let's get started. I am just sharing a presentation so that we'll be on a like specified structured track rather than doing random discussions, but we'll be taking in the questions uh, in between as well. So feel free to unmute yourself or put up your queries into the chat box. Or Sangeeta, you can like after every 2 or 3 slides, we can take up the questions. It would be great if you can speak on the audience behalf for me.
Yeah, sure.
So it's about me. I hope like when you got to know about the speaker, you must have Googled me at least. I'm the founder and CEO of Edudictive, and parallelly, I'm working as an associate consultant at IQVIA, and I'm serving as a board member at Live Out Longer and Yum Yum Box. Both of them are the early stage startups, in which in Live Out Longer, I am the angel investor as well as the board member, and in Yum Yum Box, I'm just the board member. I have mentored more than 4,000 students in various aspects, from resume building to interview preparation to personal branding, and also helping them in understanding their career pathway. and then connecting them to the right person through my platform, that is Edudictive. And I received the admit from University of Leeds, and I'm a DTU alumni. Yeah, so before beginning up and talking about different aspects of resume building, we should understand the importance, because you must have opted for computer science because you know the importance of computer science, right? So similarly, we should know the importance of resume, and we should also understand the importance of portfolio and the LinkedIn profile. Why I'm covering all these three aspects? Because resumes are definitely important part of the interview preparation, or I would say the placement preparation thing. But nowadays the industry is moving towards like easy ways, because no one wants to come to your campus. Like in next 20 years you will see the companies would be keeping pool interview processes, although Microsoft still keeps pool interview processes. But in next 10 to 20 years we'll be expecting them to have a pool interview process with more than 10 20 colleges at the same time. So there comes the importance of portfolio and LinkedIn profile. And in off campus, and when you are a first year, second year, or third year student, then the portfolio and LinkedIn matters more than resume, because people would be looking after you, and you have to gain their attention to compete in this environment. Because when, like, if we go 5 years back, then computer science was not that appealing, because the opportunities were limited. And I won't say limited, I would say it is equivalent to other branches as well. But coming here to 2021, 90% of the opportunities are for computer related people. Even if you are from different branch, for example mechanical, for example ECE, the companies want you to understand some, or at least like basic aspect of programming, because everything is dependent upon programming in some or another way. Robots, definitely, to understand the talk, to understand the design, you need a mechanical degree. But to for its backend functionality, you need to have like Arduino programming skills. Tesla is an electric car. Definitely, to design an electric car, to minimize the aerodynamic force, you need mechanical or aeronautics degree. But for self-driving feature, you need programming. So all the aspects nowadays involve some sort of programming, and that's why even the new education policy involves some sort of coding in the school itself. So that's why my inclination would be bit equivalent towards resume, portfolio, and LinkedIn profile. They all are considered as, and even if we talk about GitHub profile, I haven't covered here because like we have to wrap up the major content in 1 hour. So GitHub is there for you. For designers, there is a Behance, there is Notion where you can like create your portfolio. And if you're a web developer, definitely you can go for creating your own website, which is more than like which will be preferred, because there you can put your resume, there you can put your social media handles, there you can put your different links, for example Behance, Notion, etc. And why it is important? Because nowadays earlier companies used to have the processes, and now recently in last 2 years we are helping students to get placed. So companies comes to us that we need people from different backgrounds. We don't want to visit one campus, we want people from different campuses, different backgrounds, because ultimately that will help us in saving expenses as well as time. So then most of the HRs and the company, like for example company comes to us, Amazon comes to us, and we need 5 software developers having 1 year experience. So we won't be asking you to submit the resumes, because we know that building a resume won't be a challenge for our first 1 year experienced people, but having a proper portfolio using their skills. Because for example, if you're a web developer, your portfolio should be there. If you're a designer, your Behance or Notion, your case study should be there. Similarly, like if you have developed any application using Python, so we should see that application working over there, rather than just writing in paper that I have built this application. That won't make more sense. Because definitely, if I would say I have built an application, for example I have built my own portfolio website, so any front end developer can build that. What different you have done over there, then that only can be judged through your by seeing your portfolio website. Maybe you have used some animation, maybe you have used minimum elements, maybe you have like put it in a very good structure which would be appealing for the interviewer. So all those aspects can be judged only by seeing your portfolio, rather than just seeing it written in your resume. Then there are lot different types of resume, like for freshers, for experienced people, for those who want to pivot from their career. For example, if someone is from ECE background, that is electronics, and they want to switch to designing, then there should be a different type of resume. And there should be some things. I have personally interviewed more than 100 students in last 1.5 months, and I have seen that people have done really good jobs, but they don't know how to present them. And there, similarly, if many of the interviews failed because they can't explain the code they have written. They know how to write a code, they know how to build an application, but they don't know how to explain the code. And if you can't explain the code, then how would you communicate within the team? And people want team players, not just the coders, specifically the product based companies. Otherwise, you can land up a job into TCS, Infosys, Accenture, IBM, and like getting one tenth or 1/20th of the salary. So that is the shortcoming of just knowing coding. You should understand the importance of other aspects like communication, presenting the things in a proper way, and making them others understand about your code. And I'll be showing some examples with you to make you to help you with the structure that you should follow as a student and as a fresher even after 2 years. This is the template which is basic. Like there are thousands of websites which you can use to build the template, but half of them are paid and half of them are bit difficult. I'll be taking a very raw example which you can build through Word. So don't take it as the final template. Take the elements of the structure as the final elements, and then you can like try your hands on any of the tool which you have access to. But note down the important elements. So far, is there any doubt? Is there any problem? Is there anything which you guys are not uh, getting in terms of terminologies? Anything? Guys, feel free to ask. At least say yes if you are clear. Acknowledge in the chat section so that I'll I don't have to just assume. I'll be confident that you guys have understood what I have talked about. Show some energy, guys. We are 60 and you are only 10 who have said yes. And how many of you are writing down these points? Guys, हम YouTube वीडियो देखते ना 5 मिनट में भूल जाते क्या बोला था ये भी भूल जाओगे try to write the important points so that you can implement afterwards because implementation is more important than knowledge. Let's move on then. Firstly, I'll show you I'm not going to take much time in showing you the examples because many of you are students, and but I'll give you a brief note. So we have 3 types of resume broadly. The first one is the chronological resume, the second one is functional resume, and the third one is combination resume. So combination one is basically some elements of chronological resume and some elements of functional resume. And functional resume, I'll be talking about it in very short because this is not of much use to first and second year students, to be honest. But I'll share the template with you guys offline so that you can understand the difference. But like keeping it brief. So chronological resume is basically the resume template which you can use and where you have to mention everything in a particular order. For example, I have completed my 10th class in X year. I have completed my class 12th in Y year. And I have completed my graduation in Z year. So just what we have to do is we have to present that in a particular structure in a chronological order. You can say like 24th, you guys are 2024 batch. So 2020 में 12th करी, 2018 में 10th करी, 2018 में सबसे पहले आएगा 2020 then 2024 the graduation. For now it's ongoing. So you need to write it in a chronological order. Similarly, if you are a part of any society, so you must have joined it as a member in 2020 or one, and then you will be promoted to some sort of head of logistics, head of operations, technical head, management head, etc. And then you would become the president, vice president, depending upon the society you are a part of. Every society is a different hierarchical structure. So you are going to promote. So showing that promotion in a certain order, that shows that you have basically received promotion. First thing. Second, people see that how you have grown up in terms of experience, because sometimes what we saw that a person has applied for a software developer role and they have put up a internship which they have done the first year, in their second year, and the recent one is the most relevant. So you need to keep those things in the top which are more relevant for the interviewer, so that they can proceed with your application. For example, if the recent one is not much relevant as per the role, then don't keep it in the resume, because everyone wants to see for how you have decided the career journey, how you have decided the career path, how you have pivoted. It shouldn't look like that you are very confused, because companies don't want confused people. Companies want people with having clarity in their mind, people with having clarity in their thought process. So you need that chronological order. Presentations helps them in understanding your clarity, and also helps them in understanding the relevant experiences you have. There is a possibility they won't even come to the second or third experiences. They will just ask you some questions on the basis of first experiences, and will go move on to the other element. For example, the positions of responsibility, extracurricular activities. So now I'll take one example of a chronological resume, so that wait, I'll show you some other. Can you guys see the resume of Keshav Agarwal? Guys, is it visible to all of you?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So I'll show two examples, one of Keshav Agarwal, another one of some other person. So try to observe the elements they have. So first, most of the people say that put your photograph, put your address, etc. You need to keep only relevant information which will help recruiter to identify your skill set, identify your ability as per the role for which they are looking. They won't be judging you on the basis of your photograph. They won't be judging you on the basis of the location you are based out of. So keeping that info won't be of much relevance, right? So note these points. Keep your name, email ID, age, and mobile number at the top, and gender as well, because gender helps them in making some decisions, because sometimes companies have some policies that they have to maintain a sex ratio. So in that case, they have to look for कि हमें 5 males चाहिए and 6 females चाहिए, for example. In your case, it's not a question because your college is only girls college, but try to keep it if you're applying offline, off campus. And keeping an email ID, and try to keep your, I'll be going to tell each and every mistakes that student does. So keep taking notes. See, the email ID he has used, keshav.dc.pi. Pi is his branch, DC is the college name, Keshav is name, @gmail.com. Sometimes people write Keshav @coolboy, or sometimes I have received personally that I am a raftar.rohan@gmail.com. So don't keep irrelevant names. It shows that you are not serious when you are applying for the job, because you are randomly putting any email ID over here. So try to keep very, what I would say, if you're a developer, then I would say buy a domain. It's very cheap. You can buy a domain with .xyz .co.in. They won't charge you, like they won't. There are a lot of websites which even offers at free of cost to the students. So have your own domain name, so that it gives that you are actually a person who is professional, and try to keep everything in a professional way, and it will show that you have made effort while applying to the job or internship. Second, see the chronological order I was talking about: 2014, 2016, and 2020. So the recent one, then the before one, the most last one, then the college name, school name, CGPA. This department rank is optional. It is only for those people who have good ranks, less than 10 or 15. If you are not a good rank holder, then try to avoid this fourth column. Then coming to the internship experiences column, the first thing is the name and the relevant contact details. Then the education. The third element is experiences and internships. So for you guys, it's not going to be full-time experience, it's going to be a internship experience only. So firstly, you have to mention the role you are into, then the company name. Location is still optional for you guys at least. Then the order. See the observe the chronological order. September, recent, May, July, December, January, June, July. This is the order. Firstly, he has done the internship in June to July 18 at Reckitt Benckiser. Then December 18 to January 19 at Bajaj Electrical. Then ITC Limited. Then 22 present, he's working as a business analyst. So this is called chronological order. So supply chain analytics in turn. Now we talk about few things, and this is very important specifically for tech people. Why I'm saying so? Because when we talk about business analyst role or non-technical roles, company usually hires 3 or 4 people from one campus. But when it comes to tech, company hires more than 10, 20 people from some good campuses. Like from DTU, Microsoft hires 25 people. Amazon hires more than 40 people, but D-Show hires only 1 people. So specifically, when a company hires more than 5 or 6 individuals for internships specifically, because most of the companies who hire for interns, they give PPO to them. So that's why they take more people so that they can even get the full-time employees as per the requirement. So if you will just write that I have interned at Microsoft, I have interned at Amazon, I have interned at any other Sprinkler, for example, the question comes to you when you are writing in the resume, how different your work was from those 21 people. So if the company wants, for example, you didn't get a PPO, and now a company, some other companies are visiting your campus, and they are seeing that these 7 people have received of internships from Amazon, and all of them are here for our interview, and we need to select only 2 of them. So how they will going to shortlist? On the basis of their job description, on the basis of their work they have done in the Amazon during their tenure? How that will be differentiable? Because ultimately not everyone would be going to ask you a lot of questions. They first see uh, how would say is the description you have mentioned over here. So you need to write each and everything which could be a differentiating factor in terms of your job description. And also try to quantify each and everything. Quantification makes a lot of difference, and it makes real stuff. If you are just writing anything which doesn't involve quantification, in most of the scenarios quantification is there. In some rare cases the quantification won't be there, so don't worry about that. But if you will focus upon quantification, then it will look that you have actually done something like that. For example, the person has said, he clearly mentioned that I have worked in the B2B e-logistics sector. So there is a possibility that Red Seal Consulting works in different sectors, and he was working in the B2B e-logistics sector. So he has clearly mentioned the department he was working with. Then he said he was involved in problem structuring, gathering and analyzing the data for the allocated hypothesis. So he clearly said what was his role. Then he mentioned manage a team of 7. If we just have written manage a team of data specialists, the interview could assume a team of 3 people. It could have he could have assumed a team of 20 people. So then the expectations would have been different. But clarifying it here itself that 7 data specialists to conduct a study of Flipkart to understand the change in consumer sentiments on online shopping behavior due to COVID-19. So it's clearly mentioned the numbers, that is 7 data specialists. Here the leadership leadership skills of a particular person will get visible to them by just looking at this 7 number. Then here in the sales internships, the monitor trends in this did competitive benchmarking, daily meetings with district assistant sales manager regarding this campaign. So they will ask about the juice campaign only. There are a lot of campaigns of ITC. They will ask only about the juice campaign. Similarly, if Amazon is working on three products, like for example AWS, for example, there some internal software, some for Amazon.com, or it could be Amazon Pay. You should clearly mention that I was working on this project while I was interning over there, and this was my role. Sometimes a person works only on software, they hire for software development intern, but after a certain time they'll allot you some departments, front end, back end, and DevOps, on the basis of your skill set. If you are good with communicating as well as coding, then they will give you a DevOps role, because DevOps is basically the combination of development plus operations. So if you can manage the operations of the development team, then you would be on the role of DevOps. Usually it's a bit senior role, but nowadays startups are at least giving the DevOps role to those people who have done internships with them. Then coordinated with 78 area executives and 200 salesmen. Here the exact things, exact what I want to say earlier, the quantification. 78 area executives and 200. So they can analyze that this person can handle a team of like this much people if given an opportunity. Visited more than 350 stores, so it will show that he has no problem in doing field work as well. So every single point will give a clarity about your personality, about the work ethics you have. So this is important. Also, one thing, show impact is also one factor that interviewer see. Show impact. You can note down these points so that in case you forget what I said, you can go and Google it. What show impact in resume means. So here the show impact is basically visited more than 350 stores, which will basically shock an interviewer that how a person like this, a student, can do this much work. Something extraordinary. Identified bottlenecks in the production line, improvement measures, market research, then created dashboards and micro. Here he mentioned that he used this software or the technology, then got appreciation from VP, countries covered. So here the company will get to know that he know about the working of these 5 countries when it comes to supply chain. He know about 3 trade channels, that is traditional, modern, and e-commerce. So all these points, whatever he has put up in bold, all these are some sort of show impact, which are making his. So if I am going through this CV, in the first 10 seconds, there is a 10-second rule, which I believe most of you have heard about. So in 10-second rule, I'll be visiting first through these bolded points. And in the first 10 seconds, I'll make the decision whether I have to go with the further process or not. And going through the complete resume. Then projects and research papers. It's totally up to you whether you want to go into research. He has done on some research, but if we will just talk about the projects. So many of the questions specifically from first year asked me whether we should do the development projects or on data structure and algorithm. So you have to do it anyway for the placement perspective, and development will basically help you in implementing those concepts in the real life, in solving the real life problems. So as a first year and as a second year student, your focus should be to develop the data structure algorithm skills or the front end development skills. If your focus is only placement, note these things. If your focus is only placement, then focus on data structure algorithm for the first 2 years and do some front end projects. In third year, move on to back end and machine learning and do some basic project for your portfolio, for your resume, so that they can see that this person is can be staffed into any of the department after some training. If your focus is not just placement, definitely second backup is placement, but you want to explore research, you want to do freelancing, you want to start some sort of startup, you have a product idea in your mind, you want to develop that, then I would say start with development and parallelly work on data structure. Don't spend much time in solving problems like 400 500 problems. Do around 100 questions. It's more than enough if your focus is not just placement, because many of the students are just focusing on the placement and they end up doing job. But now the situation has totally different. You can make more money by building your startup, and definitely there is a competition, but being a coder always have advantage that you can build a lot of projects. You can even start your like side as a sort of like web development IT firm, and then in the first few years you can do some projects at low cost, and then over a period of time you can like start working on multiple projects and hire a team of interns, and always go for a job in that case, because that's not a stable business, but you can definitely make more than 1.5 lakhs by the end of your final year if you're a team of 4 or 5 people, 6 lakhs per and monthly. That's what my students did in the past. There are a lot of people from MATE. You are from IGDT, you have edge over them. So a lot of people from MATE have done this sort of thing, and they are making more than 5 lakhs in their final year right now. And this is the reality. I'm not posting. You can even Google. Like the company is Grey Dot Solutions. The founder of that company, both the founders worked with us. They are a student of us. So also did internship with us. So they have done really great, and a lot other people are also putting their hands into freelancing nowadays. So in projects, let's talk about the projects now. When we talk about projects, you don't have to just write, I have done this project. Always try to do those. And also one thing which I have recently observed, that many of the students try to show those projects which are available with the very like which are available on YouTube, which are available on Google, that you can build a Twitter based Twitter clone. You can make what we call Swiggy clone. You can make XYZ clone. See, building a clone is not a big deal. You don't need to even learn anything. You can just go to YouTube, download the software required, and copy the code as they're saying. And there are a lot of things available on Stack Overflow which you can use to build the project. But what additional thing you think could be added to the product, the existing product in the market, and it can help user? That's what we call problem solving. And even the data set algorithms interview, every one of us know that all of this helps in evaluating your problem solving skills to the interviewer. So try to put something additional. If there is no harm in building Twitter clone, there is no harm in building Zomato clone, but try to put additional features into that. Try to change the design, learn some designing thing, have a team, and try, because ultimately the problem is Zomato build karna is not a big deal. ठीक है, यूजर को रिटेन करना इज अ बिग डील. दैट्स व्हाई वी से दैट प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर्स ज्यादा रिक्वायरमेंट आने वाले टाइम में rather than software developers. और मोस्टली सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपर्स आफ्टर 2-3 experiences product managers बनते हैं. Because if we talk about just software developers, Infosys has more than 13,000 software developers. TCS more than like 25,000 software developers. Why they are not getting jobs into Amazon, Flipkart? Because they need problem solvers. They need people who can understand the consumer behavior and make the improvement in the product. So try to put some additional factor. Like there is a very common project, face detection using AI or ML. So everyone are doing, like whosoever is interested in ML AI, they're taking that as the first project. That won't help you, because interviewer must have seen such projects 1,000 times. They won't even ask you a question on that. Then achievement and awards. Many of the students just write, I received first rank, second rank, fourth rank. Don't just try to put your ranks. Don't just try to put your, for example, I recently saw a person has won. He was second runner-up in a particular hackathon. Always try to put from how many teams your team was second runner-up, because that shows your competitiveness. If there were only 10 teams and you were a second runner-up, it means you are third, and that is not a big achievement. 30%, you are in top 30%. So try to give, for example, this person was invited as a Harvard conference among the 350 delegates across Asia. This is something good, like 1/350. Like it's like very good ratio. Second position in the marketing event. Here, I'll not give any weightage to this point. I'm also raising the negative points. So make sure you are noting them down. Same goes with positions of responsibility. Here, he missed the timelines. You should mention the timelines from when to when you are a part of the society. Launched 22 chapter. This is a show impact throughout India. Again, the geography, the scope, coordinated the development of a portal, managed the operations, introduced new things. You have done something from scratch, impacted over 1,000 underprivileged people. He could have written impacted underprivileged people, but writing 1,000 shows that this much was the impact they made. Team of 60 volunteers, introduce research internship program, then again introducing something. It means that a person can take the ownership of the new features. A person can take up the new like thing, like anything the company is planning to do. He can take the ownership and form a team. Then again, same goes with curricular activities, team karna, curated fund, formulated the coursework, organize events, mobile. See, if you can observe, all these things started with a similar meaning. Curated funds. He could have wrote managed funds. Formulated the coursework. He could have written, created the coursework. But you need to change the words. Why I am saying so? Because this will increase the SEO. For example, your resume is on LinkedIn or on your portfolio, and if someone is searching for the people with these keywords, your profile will come like higher. Also, when we say the ATS tool compatibility of the resume, so you never know the keywords that they have taken into the account for shortlisting the resumes. So keeping multiple keywords always increases your chance of getting shortlisted. Then skills and interest over here. Definitely, as I mentioned, the format is not great. This is the format that anyone can build without spending much money, without spending much anything on building resume. But this is acceptable in mostly companies from Amazon to Google, because this is the DTU template which I'm showing, and this is the same template which is getting used in IGDTUW. And now I'll also show one more template, and I won't explain each and everything. This is another template of a commerce background student, but I'm not going to explain because most of things are non-technical. But you should understand one thing: the first name and contact details, same element as the previous one. Academic details in the same chronological order, which I was saying. The percentile he has mentioned. Then he was applying for YLP, that is Master's Program of ISB. That's why he preferred putting scholastic and co-curricular achievements over internships. So the elements are same, only the hierarchy has changed. The order of putting it in the resume has changed. So depending upon the company, depending upon the role, you can switch the positions. Again, he has pointed out the important by putting them into bold. Led a team of 8 senior analysts, outperformance of the benchmark returns by 9.5%, 10 plus quarterly research and outperformance reports. Then team of 100 plus first year members, 14 cabinet members, quantification, FES 600 plus participation. For example, Sangeeta, who is a management lead of DSC, after organizing this, if she'll just say that I have organized multiple sessions on different topics, clarify that I have organized 12 sessions across the year on these disciplines with a total participation of 3,000 students. That will show the clarity that you have managed the events with 3,000 audience. Again, extracurricular activities. So all these things are same. So it clearly shows that you have to make sure of the elements. So note down the elements. I am repeating: name and the relevant contact details. Don't put up your photograph. Don't use the irrelevant name on your email ID. Don't put up anything which is irrelevant. Also, you can add one more thing which is not available here. You can add the LinkedIn profile link, GitHub link, or any other professional portfolio link along with this. That is acceptable. Try to put show impact things, bold them, because in the first, try to bold those things which you want interviewer to see in the first 10 to 15 seconds. Clear? Any other questions so far after observing these two resumes? Any sort of questions? Please ask. If it is not going to an interactive session, there is no benefit. if we are applying for a tech role, should we add experiences like digital marketing? It depends for which company you are applying. If the company has some relation with the digital marketing, because a developer should know a basic concepts of digital marketing like on-page SEO, off-page SEO. So in that case, definitely digital marketing experience matters a lot. You know how to like put meta description things and how to use the right keywords on the website. So all those things definitely matters. Any other questions, guys? इतनी क्लैरिटी है, चलो अभी तुम्हें स्क्रीन नहीं दिख रही है, कोई भी 2 या 3 स्टूडेंट्स इसमें डाल दो, क्या कहते हैं, चार्ट सेक्शन में, व्हाट आर द डिफरेंट एलिमेंट्स ऑफ अ रिज्यूमे.
Guys, don't leave the meeting if you don't want to answer. Just stay there.
Only Anshika knows. There, I have talked about 6 to 7 components of a resume. I am repeating: name and the relevant contact details, educational experiences, educational qualification, internship experiences, positions of responsibility, extracurricular activities, and achievements. And last May, you can put your skill set, or even like it depends upon totally upon the format. Just try to keep like, if I talk about prioritizing the things, so educational qualification and your work experiences should be prioritized and in the chronological order. Other things can be switched, doesn't matter. But as and also the positions can be varied depending upon the format. If you are having a 2-column format or 1-column format, so don't like rely on just one format. Try to keep changing the format if you think that it can make impact on your selection. Name, contact, education, experience, project achievements, position of responsibility, extracurricular activity. Chavi has noted down all the points. Great. Anyone can tell me what is the difference between resume and a CV? As a student, your resume should be of 1 page. Others, what's the difference between CV and resume? I'm not asking for the full form, Dia. Yeah, like most of you have said rightly, CV is a bit detailed description of your work experiences, and it could be of any number of pages. But resume is more concise, to the point, and having only relevant stuff, and that is the major difference. Now, the CVs, the resumes that I have showed to you guys, both of them were chronological resume. Now, just giving a brief idea about the functional resume. So, functional resume talks more about the skill upgradation. For example, uh, you have joined any non-technical branch, for example, but you got to know that I have bit inclination towards software development after like attending some workshops or enrolling into any of the course. Then you want that I want to get placed or I want to get internship in the similar role. Akansha, I'll get back to this question after completing the functional resume stuff. So there you need to show what skills you have inculcated in yourself over the last 2 years, 3 years, rather than just talking about the internships. For example, you have done internships in any startup, be it early stage startups or it is an unpaid internship because you have no idea about software development, you have no idea about technical stuff, you are just learning. Then focus upon talking about the skill set. For example, you have worked on the React Native, you have worked on the React, you have worked on the Node.js, you have worked on the MySQL database or maybe MongoDB. So mention all those things rather than just saying that I was a software developer, I was the web developer at XYZ startup. Because when you are pivoting from different branch, for example, you enroll into a like civil engineering, which is not the case with you guys, but and you want to apply for other role in the product management, definitely you can do that. For example, after getting 2 years, 3 years experience, you want to switch to management role. Then you need that sort of resume where you can mention that apart from the technical stuff, I was managing the team, I was managing the operations. So all those things have built leadership qualities in me. They have helped me in understanding the business aspects of the product. So I can be a good person who can lead a team as a VP of the company. VP of the technical domain could be. Okay? So they don't need a MBA person for that role. If you can convince them through your resume, and where we are talking about the skill upgradation over the last few years, rather than just talking about the experience in terms of role, that differentiated a functional resume from chronological resume. All other things are same. You need to write it in the same the element should be there. The only thing is the work experiences you are talking about, that shouldn't be given priority. The priority should be the skill upgradation, mentioning where you have implemented those skills rather than just typing like C++, Java, React. No, don't write like that. Write worked over here, upgraded, like for example, skills section would be of skills and writing React, worked on this application using React app, and completed the project in this much year, did a freelancing project for this client, etc., etc. So all those things will definitely help you in pivoting your career. Now I'm sharing my screen again, and there would be some repetition of the points because I have shown most of them. Yeah. So these are the three domains which are of relevance to the technical people. So consulting is something which you guys might look after a certain time. It could be technical consulting, it could be any sort of consulting. Another thing could be analytics, and the third could be pure core coding, that is software development, web development, app development, and game development as well. And if you are from other branches, not from the core technical branches, then there are few pointers you need to keep into your mind. So in the consulting resume, look for the spikes. Spikes here refers to the difference in diversified experience. For example, if you have seen the resume of Keshav's thoroughly, you must have observed he has a diversified experience. He worked as a sales intern, he worked as a operations intern, he worked as a business analyst, he worked as uh, even the BI, the business intelligence analyst in the first internship. So all those things that shows that a person has a diversified nature. He wants to explore more. And in consulting, you always come up with a new problem of the client and you have to solve that. So it shows that you have a diversified experience. So you will be very much enthusiastic whenever a new problem came across you, and you will be up for solving it along with the team. So they always look for spikes, so try to keep those spikes in your resume. They prefer a candidate with diverse experience. good academic performance is definitely preferred. And in these types of job, if your resume gets shortlisted, then and you have written the relevant stuff in the resume, and you would be able to answer whatever on the things whatever you have mentioned in the resume, your selection is confirmed. Why I'm saying so? Because they shortlist CV with so much due diligence that only relevant people get chance to get interviewed, because consultants have very less time. They don't give much time in interviewing a lot of people, and this is the reality. Definitely there could be more than one round or two round. I have personally went through 3 rounds for a consulting job, but my major, I would say, competitive step was resume shortlisting. Analytics resume, this is more of a data science, data analytics resume. Analytics resume branches. So here the resumes are very important. Sorry, projects are very important, and definitely resumes are also important. And internships related to data management, data analytics, people having such experiences through internships get priority over others, because they know the basics of data analytics. The company don't have to put a lot of efforts in making you understand all those aspects, because we definitely know about databases, data DBMS and all as a technical person, but in data analytics, you have to look for the technical as well as the business perspective out of that data. For example, if I'll talk about product analyst. So the role of the product analyst is basically why the user is not retaining on a Zomato app, for example, why the user is spending only 5 minutes, why the user is only ordering once in a while, what could be the reason. What we can do to make him retain for the longer time on e-commerce platform, like on Amazon Prime, for example. So all those things very like matters a lot if you are an analyst. And definitely if you are a analyst in the promotional perspective would be great, because nowadays companies are moving toward data driven decisions and they need experienced people. And in the previous last 10 years, a lot of people have no idea about data stuff, so the growth curve is great in these roles, at least for the next 5 to 7 years. Knowledge of statistics and mathematics is very crucial, because you need to do a lot of calculations and using any tool, be it Python, be it W, be it R, and definitely Excel as well. And pure coding resume, or for the software developer role, CV is not the deal breaker. It doesn't mean that CV and resume won't help you. They are a part of process. They are important, but they are not the final one. Like if your resume is so great, it doesn't mean that your selection is confirmed. While in case of consulting, it happens most of the time. If your resume is getting shortlisted, there are chances that you will get shortlisted for the job. Like 80% of the people get finally selected. More important are your achievement. Your skills should be clearly visible through your projects and through your work, through your experiences, and the profile should be very targeted. Like if you are focusing upon the back end role, if you're focusing upon the, like as a fresher, always like companies hire as a software developer trainee or the SDE1, because they know that they know just C++, Java and the data structures. So we'll train them in that way, and will diversify their roles over a period of next 2 years. Then over a period of time, some of you will go to back end, some of you will go to front end, some of you will go to DevOps. So that is all about coding thing. And more important about resumes here refers to mentioning about the hackathons, mentioning about the uh, projects you have done, and many other definitely don't think that only technical stuff will help you. Also the leadership qualities, the extracurricular activities will be a leverage, because as I mentioned, company wants lead team persons, they don't want just coders. Because lot of just giving an example of DTU and NSIT, in last 5 years the seats have increased by 300%, but the jobs are not that much, have not increased in the similar ratio. So again the competition is there. You need to compete with your colleagues. even in off on campus jobs, and in offline the competition is huge, because nowadays companies are even considering non-technical people for the jobs as well, even the Amazon and Flipkart. So you need to understand the importance of the projects. You need to understand the importance of the problem solving skills before, rather than just the resume. For those who are not from tech branches and they want to go for tech, then you should try to get experiences via internships, no matter whether they are paid or unpaid. Try to indulge yourself into freelancing, because in freelancing you got to work on multiple projects. Your academics should be very great, and here, like, if you are a non-technical, like non-CS branch, I would say, then projects are very important. As I mentioned, if you are targeting placement, having a project definitely help you, but they are not that much important if you are able to answer the questions or related to data structure algorithms. But if you are from non-CS background, your projects matters a lot. Also, one more thing that student used to ask, and I have to answer this over here as well. Guys, like, resume अच्छा होगा तो benefit क्या होता है वो समझने की कोशिश करना. You are going to spend around 1 hour in the room with the interviewer. So if your resume is having lot of stuff, your interviewer will ask questions revolving around those stuff only. But if you are not putting a lot of things over there, then the questions would be very technical, and there are huge chances you won't be able to answer them on the spot. Because when we do questions in our home, in our coaching institutes, we have no time constraints in most of the cases. But in the interview, we have pressure, we have time constraints. So then the problems would occur. So that's why there should be a focus on building a great resume and only putting those things which you can answer easily and with more detailed and precise answers. If any one of you has interest towards higher studies, so let me talk about few things. But before that, I want to ask if there are any questions from you guys. So first, Akansha, which is more ATS friendly? See, as a fresher, or I won't say like you should have 2 column resume, because ultimately when a person is going through the left column, they will get distracted by the right end, and maybe they'll miss some of the important points on the left end. But as per the ATS friendly stuff, there is no, because ATS will definitely identify the keywords, that won't identify the format. ATS friendly is basically the keyword searcher. They have some keywords in their system which will get identified by their system, and they will shortlist the resume. So you need to focus on the content for passing the ATS round. Just a minute. Another question. Can you give more examples of spike as you have mentioned? So guys, like, spikes is basically, like, for example, I have mentioned that in the Keshav Agarwal's resume that he has achieved, he has led a team of XYZ people, and in the Madhav's resume it was like he was able to like initiate or curate funds of 1.05 lakhs. So all those things are spikes only, which can't be done by every second person over there. You need to show all those things which are like very rare for the for among all those who are applying for the job. Because in college we usually have 1,000 people, for example. Not everyone is a president of a society. Not everyone is a person who was able to raise funds for their society. Not everyone is able to organize such events. Not everyone is able to complete a lot of projects and also able to get good results. For example, if you have published research papers, if you have won any competitions, all those things, and like वो सारे ही spikes हैं in a diversified manner, not just putting the similar stuff. Like if you have participated in 5 hackathons, don't put all these 5 hackathons as a separate points. Put 5 hackathons. I have participated in 5 hackathons where my rank was this respectively, or try to put only those which are where your performance was great, and try to mention the projects you guys have done. during that hackathon. What experience we should have on our resume if we are planning to apply Google Mega based companies? Experiences, if it depends in which year you are, to be honest. If you're a final year student applying for Google and Microsoft for the job, then the experience of a software developer internships or a full stack developer internship would do wonders. And definitely, because ultimately your resume should get shortlisted, and after that your interview will be the final call for them, and there you have to answer some of the deals and some of the resume based questions. But on resume, your internship should be related to that domain itself, if we talk about the product based companies. And if you're targeting a startup, your overall skills matters more than just software development skills. Your projects are enough. If you haven't done even any internships in the domain and applying for any startups, then that's okay. How can we know if our rank is good enough? Top 10 percentile is the rank. Only the rank with like in the top 10 percentile is good enough. After that, I don't think you should put it over there. Avoid it. Any other question? Guys, are we on the same page? Yes or no? Definitely, I'll give some tips in next 10 minutes only, because we are about to end. There are only one important thing which is left, and that is what's going on. Wait. What are the don'ts in your resume? I have covered most of them, but still, I believe that a few things you should consider. I have covered most of the tips. I am repeating. Look for the keywords in the job posting. For passing the ATS round, always try to put keywords from the job posting. For example, you came across a job from any company. First, try to read their job descriptions and then try to use the keywords they have mentioned. For example, they have mentioned a person who can manage a team. So rather than leading a team, you should use a word manage. If they are writing that a person should know how to curate a particular, like who can design some sort. So if you have written curated, you can replace it with design word, who are like synonyms of each other. So try to use those keywords which are mentioned in the job description, because most of the ATS rounds involve the keywords which are mentioned in the job descriptions. So proofread your resume and identify which keywords can be replaced with which keywords. Industry. For example, if you want to apply to Google, try to look for the resumes of the Google from the LinkedIn profiles of the people who are in Google. For example, there is a person from Google who is associated with us as well, and from your college, that is Garima Malhotra. So Garima का resume देख सकते तुम, and Garima के resume के basis पे you can add make your resume. It helps कि same college, same company में जिसमें तुम apply करना चाहते हो. Similarly, Myntra में बहुत लोग हैं. Myntra में search करो, Myntra के software developer उनके resume मिल जाएंगे, and then just use कि वो keywords कौन से use कर रहे हैं. Keywords बहुत matter करते हैं resume shortlist. नंबर्स इंक्लूड करना, क्वांटिफिकेशन, शो इम्पैक्ट, प्रोफेशनल फॉन्ट होना चाहिए. ऐसा मत करना कि काफी अच्छा दिखाने के लिए यू आर यूजिंग सम फॉन्ट्स which are not accessible in the other system. So use Calibri or Arial. They are the ones which are available in all the systems or even in mobiles. And always share the PDF files. Never share the doc file, because sometimes doc is not easily accessible on the mobile phones and the tablets as well. Put only relevant information. Don't put everything in your resume, because that won't help you. Do not use the same words: managed, coordinated, handled, organized. You should use different words if you want to convey even the similar stuff. Choose appropriate margins. Your resume should be very well spacious. Proofread it, edit it. Try to avoid grammatical errors. Try to avoid double spaces between two words. And also, when you are applying for different jobs, try to modify a resume a bit depending on the company. So note down these points. I'm waiting for 1 more minute so that even you can take a screenshot. But these are the tips which I believe can help you a lot as a student. Should we proceed? A higher studies thing. So many of the students think that the GRE score and the GMAT score or the CAT score is the only thing that will decide whether you can get the job or not, get the admission into any B school or other master's school. So just to tell you that every lot of things matters when you consider applying for any master's program or B MBA program. So give equivalent importance to LOR, SOP, essays, and interviews. Like I got admitted from University of Leeds just on the basis of LOR and SOPs and essays and interview. I haven't appeared for GRE. So that and my definitely profile as well. And try to have a good alumni base from your college. Like contact them and ask them what is the specific thing for this particular college which you can show. Connect with the people on LinkedIn, you in the relevant schools and colleges. Also, like if you are targeting any exam like this for higher studies, don't think that preparing day and night for the exams will help you in getting that. Your extracurricular matters a lot because in interview again, the questions would be asked on the basis of your resume. Otherwise, they will ask you random questions on the basis of your college curriculum, and there is a high possibility you won't be able to answer most of them. That happens with my friends, my students, and like even with my seniors. This is the most important slide I would say because we should know what not to do because there are a lot of people who can tell you what to do but not everyone will tell you what not to do. So first, as I mentioned, include personal information only. Don't put anything which is irrelevant. Putting your father's name, mother's name, your date of birthplace won't help. Putting your photograph won't help. Unprofessional email address would turn off the interview. Social media profiles not related to specific jobs. If you are a social media influencer and applying for a digital marketing job, putting up your Instagram profile makes sense. But if you are not, then put only relevant links like LinkedIn link, GitHub link, Behance link, Notion link, etc. Don't put too many buzzwords like strategic thinker, best of breed, go-to person, because everyone knows these are the keywords that a lot of people can put, but it is not the truth actually. Being a fresher, you can't be a best of breed, you can't be a go-to person because you haven't never worked in a corporate. How you can write those words which you haven't experienced as of now, because in societies there are only limited people, so you have to be a go-to person, there is no other option. And internships you can't be a go-to person, or for a big task, for very tiny things you could be a go-to person. So try to avoid such buzzy words, avoid grammar mistakes, spelling errors. Bolding the wrong info can also put up a negative impression. Making claims without measurable evidence. Don't write which you haven't achieved. Don't write which you can't prove. Hobbies are okay if you can show your hobbies to be actually most important. For example, you are a chess, your hobby is to play chess, but you don't know the name of the team players of Indian chess team, then there is no point of putting that hobby. If your hobby is for example football, you should know about the recent football match, because a person can definitely ask you a question on the basis of that. So only put that which is you are having a knowledge of a particular niche. Okay, choosing a bad file name. Many a times I received a resume with resume dot xyz name के साथ. You have to try to put your name slash college slash name underscore your college, maybe for the role you're applying, for the company you're applying, like that. Don't put, and always try to have the first copy. Sometimes when we do multiple downloads, then we get the bracket में like 1 2 3 4 subsequent files. So try to rename them so that the impression won't get uh, negative. Negative. Don't include photograph, even if you are so, because that can create a biased decision. Okay, sometimes. Okay, because you never know who is going through your resume, and also putting up a photograph may lead to misuse of your photographs in some or another way. So that's not recommended by any company. कॉमन इंटरव्यू क्वेश्चंस, ये क्वेश्चंस मुझे पता है कि काफी क्वेश्चंस है जो तुम्हारे रेलेवेंस के नहीं है, बट टेल मी अबाउट योरसेल्फ इज द कॉमन वन. टेल अस समथिंग व्हिच इज नॉट इन रिज्यूमे. आजकल ये काफी कॉमन है क्योंकि एवरीवन यूज्ड टू आस्क व्हाट इज इन, टेल अस समथिंग, टेल अस अबाउट योरसेल्फ एंड यू टॉक अबाउट द लाइक इन अ समराइज्ड वे अबाउट योर रिज्यूमे. So then the question is looking like what is not in your resume. And the second question which I have mentioned, where you want to see after 5 years. So in most of the cases you must have gone through the answers, and like the answer must be like, I want to see myself at a senior position, I want to see myself, etc., etc. There are multiple answers, there could be a lot of answers, but what I feel should be your answers, and this helped a lot of students of mine in cracking the interviews, wherever they came across this question. Always talk about realistic stuff. Realistic stuff could be, you can upgrade yourself with some skills. You can inculcate multiple skills in next 5 years. So you should mention that I would like to possess XYZ skill in next 5 years. Rather than writing, I would love to see myself at a senior position. I would love to see myself in this company. I would see myself at a management school, etc. Because all those are uncertain. You never know कि तुम्हारा promotion होगा नहीं होगा, तुम उस company में रहोगे नहीं रहोगे. The only thing that is certain is the skill upgradation, because that is dependent only upon you. You can do it even like without having some sort of projects related to that field. If you want to learn development, being in the non-technical development space, you can learn. So always try to answer this question in the skill upgradation way. It will create a very good impression because you are talking real thing and not talking just to answer the question. This is the group, usually the process: CV shortlisting, assessment test, the DSLGO test, or the C++ Java test. Group activity could be there in some interviews, processes. Multiple interview rounds. कंसल्टिंग के लिए गेस्टिमेट्स हो सकते हैं, केस स्टडीज हो सकती है, कोडिंग रोल के लिए टेक्निकल इंटरव्यूज होंगे, एंड देन द एचआर इंटरव्यू व्हिच इज लाइक नॉट of much relevance in decision making. Only decision making would be like based on the technical interviews. Focus on soft skills, communication flow, confidence, energy balance. These are more important skills nowadays rather than anything else. So that's all about resume building. These are the specific roles which you can look for: quality assurance, software developer, software testing, full stack development, Android, UI, UX, and game development as well, and product management as well. I forgot to put that. Now questions, and after that I'll cover few aspects of LinkedIn, and then we'll wrap up. So in next 5 minutes we can take the questions from you guys. Until then, Sarthak, you can share the feedback form as well with them.
Sure.
Guys, ask the questions. Like, I don't know whether your teachers answer your questions or not, but I'll try to answer every question. And you would get answer from me on the basis of the like from the perspective of a recruiter, because we have hired many people in different companies, being a board member, being a founder, and even like being a consultant to many startups.
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Good evening, Anjali. Yes, tell me.
Good evening, sir. Yeah, I'm from first year, EC student. So, my question is ML projects, like ML projects, are necessary, or how they are for the product-based companies?
See, being a first year, you should focus upon data structure algorithms and getting a command on C++ or Java. ML is based on Python, and I won't recommend Python to first year students if your target is placements, because Python is definitely important, but for the analytics role, for the software developer role, they will teach you Python, because if you know C++, Java, then getting your hands into Python is like a game of 1 week. But so I will prefer go and study about data structures and algorithm concepts, solve some questions on lead code, HackerRank, and others, and then do some projects, but not in first or second year. To be honest, machine learning should be your third priority. First priority should be data structure algorithm. Second priority should be development. Third priority should be machine learning. Being a student, for the placement perspective as well as for the development of your mind, because when you know development, applying machine learning would become more fascinating for you, would become more exciting for you. And if you actually want to just enter the data science space, then don't do development, then move on to machine learning directly if you are actually passionate about data science, because many of the students are not aware of the data science thing from like deeply. You should have great command on statistics as well as mathematics along with the machine learning thing, because a lot of mathematical and statistical thing would be there. So make sure you know about the data science thoroughly before starting your journey as a data scientist.
Sir, who is more paid, like data scientists or the software developers?
Everyone
Who
is
gets
paid
the,
great if you are in top 10%.
so
Highest
sir,
package is 40 lakhs in all the positions.
yeah, sir, from both of them, which is more easy, like more easy to understand and get a package?
For, as I mentioned, for getting job, only ML won't help. You need to have a strong command on data structure algorithm, because this first round, that is the assessment round, would depend upon C++, Java, and into most of the interview questions would be based upon your data structures algorithm. Having a project definitely would be a leverage, but when we talk about the ML thing, ML is huge. Doing one or two project won't help you to get a ML job. If you are working on an ML project and thinking that you will get a job in as an ML engineer, that's not going to happen for sure, because companies don't hire freshers as an ML engineer. Any single company, not even startups. So your focus should be on other aspects first, then doing one or two projects on ML. Like for example, stock market. There are a lot of projects based on stock market analysis and phase. Like for example, like a phase detection thing, and there are projects like automation of emails. Okay, so these are the basics project which you can do, or exploring other things, doing like making the process easier, whichever process you are doing or working on nowadays. You can use the Python to make that process easier, but don't think that only doing ML would help you in getting placements better than others, because not a single company gonna hire you as an ML engineer being a fresher.
So sir, if like I'm doing DSA and Algo, and if I will add like some like one or two projects of ML, so like will it a wrong thing to add on resume,
No, it
or
is not wrong thing. It will help you. It will leverage your profile. But like just doing that ML thing would create a lot of questions in front of you, because they will say कि तुमने ML पे ही questions क्यों किए sir? Sorry, projects क्यों किए? So if you can answer those questions, then great. But as you are in just first year, going into your second year, I won't say just start with the ML on all. Do projects based on ML. They are great. Definitely help you in placement. Negative impact कोई भी नहीं है. ठीक है, नेगेटिव कुछ भी नहीं है. पॉजिटिव की बात कर रहे हैं, अगर पॉजिटिव यही है कि पहले डेटा स्ट्रक्चर एल्गोरिथम्स करो, देन कुछ बेसिक प्रोजेक्ट्स कर लो, ठीक है, एंड देन गो फॉर पाइथन बेस्ड एप्लीकेशंस, ठीक है. बट
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
any other question, guys, or we should go for LinkedIn, like a bit about LinkedIn? Python, if you are a mechanical engineer student, Python would do wonders for you, because थर्ड ईयर में हो तुम, फोर्थ ईयर में आने वाले हो, कंपनीज आने वाली हैं, तो यू कांट compete with the C++ or Java people for sure right now, ठीक है. So you should go for Python because it will save your time and increase the chance of getting placed. From the perspective of placement, I am saying this कि Python help करेगी, ठीक है. बट अगर हाँ तुम्हें सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट रोल पे ही जाना है तो डेटा स्ट्रक्चर इन C++ और Java, you have to do that only, no other way. Python will help you in getting jobs in data analysis, consulting, etc. And also you can appear for software developer roles as well, क्योंकि Python data structure and algorithm Python में भी होता है, ठीक है. That's why I'm saying Python. So go for Python if you are a third year mechanical student. Any other questions, guys? Or should I start with LinkedIn briefing? सी मैकेनिकल के अंदर अगर तुम कंपनी की बात करो, जो मैकेनिकल की कंपनीज लाइक ऑटोमोबाइल कंपनीज और द मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनीज, देन द ऑटोमेशन हेल्प्स. एंड ऑटोमेशन के अंदर यू नीड पाइथन और अदर लाइक आर्डिनो बेस्ड, जो आर्डिनो C++ में भी कोड करते हो तुम, ठीक है, उसके अंदर सी में भी करते हो, ठीक है. तो पाइथन से ही हो जाता है कि पाइथन से यू आर गोइंग टू गेट लॉट ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटीज, ठीक है. नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट मैकेनिकल ओनली, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट कि वो मैकेनिकल के लिए अपॉर्चुनिटीज ओपन होती है, ठीक है. तो ओपन होगी मैकेनिकल के लिए तो तुम्हारे पास अपॉर्चुनिटीज बहुत सारी ओपन हो गई, ठीक है, बीइंग अ स्टूडेंट, ठीक है. अगर तुम वर्किंग प्रोफेशनल हो तब तो तुम सॉफ्टवेयर में भी मूव कर सकते हो बाय डूइंग लॉट ऑफ प्रोजेक्ट्स and building your portfolio. But if as a fresher, Python will open up lot of opportunities even in tech as well as in analytics domain. And I would prefer, being a mechanical, you should explore analytics profile. Software development won't be of much interest to you after doing it for 1 or 2 years. My personal experience, because I'm also a mechanical person. You are good for product management, so look for the product role, because mechanical people are good with operations. Okay, so a company looks for product managers from mechanical background. If you'll Google like कि product managers जो हैं 10 में से 16 product managers are from mechanical background. Role data analytics, product analytics, and consulting is for you. But still, I would prefer कि go for product management role with some knowledge of Python, and if you can लर्न डेवलपमेंट फास्ट, डेवलपमेंट भी कर सकते हो. मना नहीं कर रहा हूं मैं तुम्हारे के टाइम कंस्ट्रेंट के बेसिस पे एक एडवाइस दे, क्योंकि प्रोडक्ट मैनेजमेंट से सॉफ्टवेयर में मूव करना इज नॉट अ बिग डील, सॉफ्टवेयर से प्रोडक्ट मैनेजमेंट में मूव करना इज ऑल्सो नॉट अ बिग डील, ठीक है. बट विद लिमिटेड टाइम यू शुड एक्सप्लोर प्रोडक्ट मैनेजमेंट इफ पॉसिबल. So it's already 1.5 hours, so let's move on to a bit about LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is nothing, it's just you can say a 21st century resume. So अगर तुम 2 घंटे दे रहे हो अपने resume को build करने में, तो तुम्हें 2 घंटे या 3 घंटे देने पड़ेंगे अपने LinkedIn प्रोफाइल को भी build करने में, ठीक है. तो मैं ज़्यादा बातें नहीं करूंगा LinkedIn से related, but I'll show my profile and will cover some aspects जो तुम्हें पता होने चाहिए LinkedIn के बारे में, और तुम नोट डाउन कर सकते हो. कंपोनेंट्स की बात करते हैं. सबसे पहले होती है कवर पेज. कवर पेज तुम्हारी होनी चाहिए, जैसे मेरा तो आई एम वर्किंग ऑन माय स्टार्टअप, हमारे स्टार्टअप से रिलेटेड है. तुम अपनी डोमेन से रिलेटेड रख सकते हो. इफ यू आर अ डेवलपर, इफ यू आर अ like person who are exploring XYZ domain, so put something like that, or put any quote you believe in. ठीक है. Headline should be your current situation. If you are working in a company, then put your role. If you're looking for an opportunity, looking for a XYZ opportunity. If you're looking for internships, looking for projects, looking for funding of a startup, you're looking for anything, just put the current situation of your mind or of your physical situation as well. ठीक है. Don't put student at IGDTU. This is the biggest mistake क्योंकि कॉलेज का नाम यहाँ पे दिखता है ऑलरेडी. ठीक है. Then you can open yourself for jobs, for internships. This is only available in desktop version. Open to. मैं जैसे open to growth product manager role. ठीक है. Providing services that you can provide freelancing skills. I provide educational consulting, business consulting. ठीक है. Then the another feature is the summary. Summary is basically a kind of 10-second rule जो apply होता है. तो हम यहाँ पे कहते हैं summary पढ़ के आपका पर्सन डिसाइड करेगा कि आगे प्रोफाइल पे जाना है या नहीं जाना. योर समरी शुड बी क्रिस्प एंड टेल अबाउट योर विजन, टेल अबाउट योर मिशन, टेल अबाउट योर स्किल सेट. ठीक है. देन एक्सपीरियंसेस. तो यहाँ पे भी क्वांटिफिकेशन देख सकते हो तुम. इंश्योरिंग एंड टू एंड एग्जीक्यूशन विद इन 5 डिपार्टमेंट कंप्राइज ऑफ 75 टीम मेंबर्स, इंटरव्यूड मोर देन 400 स्टूडेंट्स, mentored 35 students total number of students. So 12,000 is the number of students which Edudictive has mentored. With me mentored 3,500 students individually. Then as a board member of Yum Box, my role is cost optimization, pricing and formulating business plan, conducting PMR. PMR is basically primary market research to expand, assisting founders in building partnerships for corporations to work orders. I have been a guest speaker. I was a keynote speaker to Andhra Pradesh State Skill Development Corporation. I judged a lot of events, and I'm an author of one book as well. I was a VP of my society. So what I have done, so like a lot of people must have been a part of the society as a VP in like 5 years. So मैंने clearly mention किया कि मैंने क्या किया था. ठीक है. Conducting various induction programs. यहाँ पे ये मैंने अपनी खुद की society start करी थी, तो raise funds of 50K in just 15 days. Expanded to 5 colleges and led a team of more than 250 volunteers. Then this is my first startup stint in my second year of college, where I have served 18,000 customers and made few lakhs and had to take exit because that was not something which I want to do for the long term. Then this is my about college activities in short, because now I am working. So उतना ज़्यादा एक्सपीरियंस. ये वॉलंटियरिंग एक्सपीरियंसेस हैं, स्किल्स एंडोर्समेंट्स है. स्किल्स एंडोर्समेंट बहुत मैटर करती हैं, तो तुम जिनके साथ भी काम करो उनसे स्किल एंडोर्समेंट मांग सकते हो. ठीक है. रिकमेंडेशन के लिए तुम बोल सकते हो, रिकमेंडेशन के लिए तुम जा सकते हो. ठीक है. For example, I have given recommendation to 9 people. I have received 10. So from whom I have received, for example, if I am asking for a recommendation, they will ask you कि तुम किससे पूछ रहे हो. For example, मैंने मांगी सार्थक से. ठीक है. तो वो मेरे से पूछेगा पोजीशन क्या है. ठीक है. तो मैं ये था. ठीक है. तो वो उसके बाद मैसेज चलेगा होगा रिकमेंडेशन का. ठीक है. सिमिलरली अगर सार्थक मेरे से मांगेगा तो रिलेशन पूछेगा. रिलेशन से क्या होता है, ऑथेंटिसिटी आती है, एक क्रेडिबिलिटी आती है कि सीनियर जूनियर को दे रहा है, जूनियर सीनियर को दे रहा है, कुछ काम साथ में किया भी या नहीं किया, या रैंडम है. उसके बेसिस पे आपकी प्रोफाइल बूस्ट करती है उस. और ये सारे कंप्लीट करने के बाद आपको एक स्टार मिलते हैं प्रोफाइल पे, जो यहाँ पे मिलते हैं. यहाँ पे दिखा देता हूँ, ऑल स्टार प्रोफाइल. ठीक है. अगर मैं यहाँ से अपनी कुछ भी हटा दूंगा, अगर मैं समरी हटा दूंगा, फोटोग्राफ हटा दूंगा, कवर फोटो हटा दूंगा, तो ऑल स्टार प्रोफाइल वाला टैग हट जाएगा. ऑल स्टार प्रोफाइल से मेरे व्यूज बढ़ते हैं. ठीक है. जैसे अभी तुम देखोगे तो मेरी प्रोफाइल लास्ट वीक में नंबर ऑफ टाइम्स ऑफ प्रोफाइल बिटवीन June 1 to June 8. June 1 to June 8, 844 टाइम्स मेरी प्रोफाइल सर्च हुई है. ठीक है. 2,700 people have seen my profile in last 3 months, which is like 20% reduction है last week से. So ये metrics तुम्हारे सारे depends करते हैं कीवर्ड से. तुमने ये सारे कीवर्ड्स मैंने यूज करे हैं: स्पीकर, एजुकेटर, लव बिल्डिंग, प्रोडक्ट, बोर्ड मेंबर, ऑथर, आर्ट ऑफ एलिक, लिंक्डइन ऑप्टिमाइजेशन. ठीक है. सो ये कीवर्ड्स तुम्हें रखने पड़ेंगे अपनी डोमेन से रिलेटेड, जिसमें तुम अपने आप को करवाना चाहते हो. फॉर एग्जांपल लुकिंग फॉर अपॉर्चुनिटीज. ठीक है. तो अवेलेबल. ठीक है. यहाँ पे तुम लिख सकते हो पार्ट ऑफ XYZ सोसाइटी. ठीक है. उस तरीके से तुम्हारी प्रोफाइल जो भी होगी उस हिसाब से तुम लिखोगे. स्किल सेट है, स्किल सेट मेंशन करो. पाइथन है, सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट है, जावा है, C++ है. मेरे को भी ये सब चीज़ें आती हैं, बट आई हैव नेवर मेंशन्ड दैट, क्योंकि मैं उन चीज़ों में अपने आप को सर्च नहीं करवाना चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि आई एम नॉट अ कोर डेवलपर, मुझे डेवलपमेंट खुद नहीं करनी है. आई कैन मेंटोर पीपल, सो आई हैव पुट एडुकेटर. I haven't put Python and developer, etc. because I don't want to do development now. I want to do like spread knowledge, teach people. Okay, that is what I love to do. Product like building products. तो product कैसे बनता है, उसमें क्या क्या, क्योंकि product is very much very, I would say, expanded domain where you have to understand different KPIs, different roadmaps, things, metrics. Because वो चीज़ें ज़्यादा मैटर करती हैं rather than the coding stuff. डिजाइनिंग मैटर करती है, डिजाइनिंग से ज़्यादा मैटर करता है यूएक्स, यूजर एक्सपीरियंस कैसा होगा. सो वो सारी चीज़ों पे मेरा ज़्यादा फोकस है, तो मैंने वो सारी चीज़ें डाली हैं. You can, according to your profile, your targets, your objectives, you can use the similar keywords. जैसे ATS राउंड होता है, वैसे ही तुम्हारा लिंक्डइन प्रोफाइल को बूस्ट करने के लिए तुम्हें अपने कीवर्ड्स रखने हैं. जॉब्स ढूंढने के लिए, बीइंग अ फर्स्ट ईयर, फॉलो सम कीवर्ड्स लाइक जॉब्स, हायरिंग अपॉर्चुनिटीज. उनके थ्रू तुम्हें पोस्ट मिलेंगे. डोंट अप्लाई फॉर द जॉब सेक्शन इन द लिंक्डइन. कभी भी नहीं मिलेंगी अपॉर्चुनिटी फर्स्ट और सेकंड ईयर को. ऑलवेज गो फॉर द पोस्ट बाय द फाउंडर्स, पोस्ट बाय द HR, जहाँ पे पोस्ट करा होता है उन्होंने. पोस्ट करने से क्या होता है, तुम्हारे पास ईमेल आईडी आ जाती है. ईमेल आईडी आ जाती है, तुम उनको मेल कर सकते हो. मेल राइटिंग स्किल्स अच्छी होगी, यू विल गेट अ कॉल फ्रॉम देम. I personally got more than 7 calls like this in my final year. That's why I preferred that rather than applying from the job portal. Job portal से तब अप्लाई करो जब, क्या कहते हैं, तुम थर्ड ईयर और फोर्थ ईयर की इंटर्नशिप के लिए अप्लाई करो, जो इंपॉर्टेंट होते हैं, जिसके लिए वो कंसिडर करते हैं. फर्स्ट एंड सेकंड ईयर के लिए बड़ी बड़ी कंपनीज थ्रू स्पेशल प्रोग्राम्स करते हैं. लाइक गूगल का स्टेप प्रोग्राम है फॉर वुमेन्स, माइक्रोसॉफ्ट ने अभी एक वुमेन के लिए निकाला है. सो डेफिनेटली वो सारी तुम्हारे लिए ओपन है, बट रैंडम मत अप्लाई करो, क्योंकि रिजल्ट नहीं आएंगे, यू विल गेट डीमोटिवेटेड. बट अगर तुम थर्ड ईयर में, फोर्थ ईयर में, अप्लाई फॉर एज मेनी जॉब्स एज यू कैन, बिकॉज दैट विल हेल्प यू इन लर्निंग डिफरेंट एस्पेक्ट्स. फेलियर के बिना सक्सेस नहीं मिलता है, ये फैक्ट है. जल्दी, जितनी जल्दी तुम मान जाओगे. एक चीज के साथ मैं एंड करूंगा सेशन कि गाइज, मुझे पता तुम सब CSIT में हो. ML, सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट, एंड्रॉइड डेवलपमेंट, गेम डेवलपमेंट, सबको करनी है इनमें से कुछ ना कुछ. बट अगर तुम्हारा इंटरेस्ट नहीं है ना इस चीज में, तो मत करना. क्योंकि मैंने काफी स्टूडेंट्स देखे हैं जो सिर्फ और सिर्फ पैकेज के चक्कर में ये चीजें कर रहे हैं, एंड उनका फ्यूचर कुछ नहीं है. ठीक है, तो ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड वेदर यू एक्चुअली लाइक दैट थिंग और नॉट. इफ, और वो भी कैसे पता करना है, 6 से 8 महीने दो इस चीज. ये नहीं कि तुम्हारा पहले महीने मन नहीं करा तो नहीं है तुम्हारे बस की. 6 से 8 महीने स्पेंड करने के बाद, इफ यू थिंक दिस इज नॉट समथिंग ऑफ योर इंटरेस्ट, देन मूव ऑन टू सम अदर फील्ड्स. ठीक है, अपॉर्चुनिटीज बहुत है, यू जस्ट हैव टू आइडेंटिफाई दैट. डू नेटवर्किंग, डू सम पब्लिक स्पीकिंग एक्टिविटीज, एनहांस योर नेटवर्क. इन सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट आज की डेट में कुछ नहीं है. ऑल फ्रॉम माय them in next 2 minutes. Otherwise, thank you so much. Your certificates will be mailed to you in next 2 to 3 days, and it would be a great appreciation for me and for my team if you can post it on LinkedIn and tag Edudictive and me that you have attended and your experience, how you liked it, because that will help my team to push themselves and engage a lot of arrange lot of sessions for the students, and for me as well, for taking out time and spreading what I have learned from my experiences.
So can you tell me how can we identify what we actually like? I mean, out of the fields in the IT department, like you mentioned, game development is there, web development is there, and many other such things are there. So how do we decide that where our interest lies?
By doing that thing, अगर तुम उस पर काम करोगे 3 से 4 महीने, 3 से 4 महीने, सी अभी तुम फर्स्ट ईयर सेकंड ईयर में, थर्ड ईयर तक इफ यू डोंट नो ना तुम्हें क्या करना है, इट्स टोटली फाइन. फोर्थ ईयर तक भी नहीं पता तो इट्स टोटली फाइन. गेटिंग अ जॉब इज नॉट अ बिग डील. ठीक है, टू बी ऑनेस्ट, बीइंग अ स्टूडेंट, गेटिंग अ जॉब इज नॉट अ बिग डील. तो एक्सप्लोर एज मच एज यू कैन. ठीक है, वेब डेवलपमेंट में करना है, अगर तुम्हें बेसिक C++ जावा आती है तो तुम्हारे लिए डेवलपमेंट सीखना इज नॉट अ बिग चैलेंज, क्योंकि तुम्हारे में बहुत ज्यादा कॉन्सेंट्रेशन है, तुम्हारे अंदर लर्निंग एटीट्यूड है. कोडर के अंदर लर्निंग एटीट्यूड नहीं है तो तुम नहीं सीख सकते, क्योंकि एवरी डे अ न्यू फ्रेमवर्क विल कम इनटू द मार्केट, एवरी डे अ न्यू रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ द कंपनी वुड कम अप, यू नीड टू लर्न दोस थिंग्स. ठीक है, सो वो लर्न करने के लिए गूगल तुम्हारे पास है, ठीक है, जरूरी है कि तुम्हें एकदम बेस्ट बनना है, यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड द कॉन्सेप्ट्स एंड देन स्टार्ट इम्प्लीमेंटिंग इट विद द हेल्प ऑफ गूगल, ठीक है। और एक स्ट्रक्चर फॉलो करना होता है, स्ट्रक्चर के लिए तुम क्या कहते हैं, बहुत सारी फ्री रिसोर्सेज अवेलेबल है, टाइम बचाने के लिए पेड रिसोर्सेज अवेलेबल, कि टाइम बचाना इज इंपॉर्टेंट, दैट्स व्हाई देयर आर पेड प्रोग्राम्स इवन थ्रू अस, थ्रू कोडिंग ब्लॉग्स, कोडिंग निंजा, जितने भी स्टार्टअप्स हैं, ठीक है। बट अगर तुम्हारे पास टाइम है, यू कैन गूगल एवरीथिंग, एवरीथिंग इज अवेलेबल, although lot of cluttered on things are there, but if you have some senior or a mentor, you will make uh, to whatever your objective is, okay. So identifying the thing that you like is the only way is to do that, fail from it, otherwise you won't be able to identify that one important thing which you like, ठीक है। फर्स्ट ईयर के अंदर मैंने रिसर्च करी, मेरे 7 रिसर्च पेपर्स हैं, आई वेंट टू यूएस फॉर प्रेजेंटिंग देम, ठीक है। बट आफ्टर सेकेंड ईयर आई आइडेंटिफाइड कि मेरे को रिसर्च नहीं करनी है, ठीक है। फिर मैंने इंटर्नशिप करी इन टेक डोमेन, कोर टेक मतलब मेरी मैकेनिकल डोमेन थी, तो मैकेनिकल से रिलेटेड करी, इन ऑटोमेशन, रोबोटिक्स। देन आई रियलाइज कि मुझे रोबोटिक्स नहीं करनी है, देन आई वर्क विद स्टार्टअप्स इन द प्रोडक्ट डोमेन, देन आई रियलाइज कि प्रोडक्ट मैनेजमेंट इज समथिंग व्हिच आई लाइक, ठीक है। तो मैं प्रोडक्ट मैनेजमेंट में घुस गया, एंड साथ में मुझे पढ़ाना अच्छा लगता था, मैं फर्स्ट ईयर से पढ़ाता हूँ। तो आई हैव स्टार्टेड एडुडिक्टिव बिकॉज यहाँ पे हम एक प्रोडक्ट बना रहे हैं स्टूडेंट्स के लिए, एंड साथ में उनको मेंटरशिप दे रहे हैं, दैट्स व्हाट आई एम डूइंग एंड आई लाइक इट अ लॉट। Similarly, you need to do and fail.
I am a first year mechanical student and I am currently taking a course in ML and it's an internship also. So I just
How
wanted
it
to
could be
know,
internship, course and internship कैसे हो सकता है साथ में?
सर वो पहले सिखाते हैं फिर वो प्रोजेक्ट कराते हैं, तो वो इंटर्नशिप है।
वो
और
इंटर्नशिप नहीं होती है, वो ट्रेनिंग होती है।
हाँ सॉर्ट ऑफ ट्रेनिंग, बट उसका एक हमें सर्टिफिकेट मिल जाएगा तो
सर्टिफिकेट की वैल्यू जीरो है गाइस, इसको जितनी जल्दी रियलाइज कर लोगे उतना ज्यादा बच जाओगे।
सर लेकिन मेरा एमएल में इंटरेस्ट है, तो मैं बस ये पूछ रही थी कि हम लोग को एमएल सीखने से मतलब उसके लिए डीएस सीखना ज़रूरी है?
नहीं, मैकेनिकल वाले हो, ऊप्स के कॉन्सेप्ट सीख लो बेसिक, इट विल हेल्प यू। और डीएसएलगो का अगर सीख लोगे तो वेल एंड गुड है, बट ज्यादा मतलब 400 क्वेश्चंस 500 क्वेश्चंस करने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है, आई विल बी ऑनेस्ट, ठीक है। एमएल कर रहे हो, वेल एंड गुड है, ठीक है। और क्या कहते हैं, साथ के साथ थोड़ा सा ऊप्स के कॉन्सेप्ट जरूरी है जानने, क्योंकि तुम प्रोग्रामिंग कर रहे हो, शुड नो अबाउट देम, ठीक है। बट doing lot of questions of data structure algorithms won't help, doing competitive programming questions won't help, ठीक है, to you. So doing ML is fine, ठीक है। Python और like projects करो, definitely help करेंगे, and robotics explore करो, being a student from mechanical and knowing ML, robotics में काफी help होगी तुम्हारे को आगे करियर में, and बहुत सारी opportunities आ रही हैं इंडिया के अंदर, so explore them. All right, guys. Then let's wrap it up. It's almost 2 hours. Thank you for being till this time. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you so much, Ahan, for such a wonderful and like it was a very realistic session, and we all of us could relate with whatever you said. So thank you for such an amazing session.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay, bye bye. Thank you so much for attending.